回来再来看美国国内消息。美国总统川普进一步临近受弹劾险境。美国国会民主党传唤新证人，指控川普在乌克兰电话门丑闻中施压乌克兰总统调查民主党总统候选人拜登利益冲突问题。新的证词对川普进一步不利。获颁紫心勋章的一名退役军人陆军中校文德曼针对他提出了极具毁灭性的证词，他也是第一位向众议院弹劾调查作证的白宫官员。
Another key witness testifies on Capitol Hill, and the House will vote on the rules for the impeachment inquiry. Tim Morrison, the top Russia and Europe advisor on President Trump's National Security Council, will be the second White House official who listened in on Trump's phone call with Ukraine's leader to testify. Sources tell CNN that he's also expected to corroborate key elements of top U.S. diplomat to Ukraine Bill Taylor's testimony last week, including President Trump repeatedly pressuring Ukraine to publicly announce investigations into former Vice President Joe Biden and his son, and using military aid as leverage. Trump has denied that the two were explicitly linked. On the eve of the hearing, Morrison has told colleagues that he is planning to leave the Trump administration soon. House Democrats have now summoned former National Security Advisor John Bolton to a closed-door session.
I'm hoping that he really wants to testify, to show the courage that the others have so far.
But Bolton's attorney says he won't appear without a subpoena. Multiple administration officials have testified Bolton was concerned about Trump's personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani, pushing Ukraine for political favors, including Lieutenant Colonel Alexander Vindman, who, according to two sources at his deposition Tuesday, said Bolton told him to prepare a memo to the president by August 15th, saying military aid needed to be released to Ukraine as soon as possible. But Vindman testified the president refused to give up the money, even after meeting with Bolton and other cabinet officials.
We're going to continue to learn more about what Mr. Colonel Vindman said, for instance, from Mr. Morrison. Everything I've seen has been consistent with the whistleblower's allegations.
Today's impeachment vote will formalize the next steps, including permission for public impeachment hearings and the release of deposition transcripts. Democrats also giving Republicans the ability to subpoena witnesses, only if the Democratic chairman agrees or a majority of the committee approves.
No one runs for Congress to impeach a president, but we are here today because the facts compel us to be.
House Republicans are still not satisfied.
It is shameful, and they will be punished for this by Americans in the next election.
And we will continue to fight every step of the way.
周二，美国马萨诸塞州发生一起意外，在当地一个小镇，一头鹿突然撞进一辆校车中，幸好司机反应迅速，在意外到来时及时进行了处理，避免了更大的伤亡发生。据了解，在意外发生后，5名学生因轻伤接受了伤口处理，而司机本人则伤势较重，被送往医院进行治疗。
The deer came crashing through the windshield of the bus, a bus full of kids.
My bus driver, Mark, he stood up and his hand was all bloody. He had blood on his face, he had blood on his leg. And he just told everyone to get off the bus. Then he did a head count.
They were on their way to school in Dartmouth this morning when the buck ended up right on the lap of driver Mark Jardin. Zoe Rodriguez was sitting in the row behind Mark.
So I was just doing that and my friend grabbed me and ducked me under her while the deer came flying at us. Because where I was sitting, the deer's head was right there. So I probably would have got hit or something by the deer, so she grabbed me and threw me under her arm.
But the driver brought the bus safely to a stop.
When you look at the images of the crash, it's incredible, number one, how it occurred, and number two, that he was able not only to survive that impact, but also walk away from it relatively unscathed after safely pulling that bus over.
Mark Jardin suffered a severely broken hand, but still got the kids out of the bus and over to a nearby yard.
I was fortunate enough that where it happened, there was a driveway that was enough room for the kids to all get there and all be together and all be accounted for. And I was bleeding, and the kids were more concerned because I didn't even realize it.
His priority was those kids, and he got them to safety, and then the ambulance said, you need to get in the ambulance.
据统计，今年万圣节期间，美国人将花费超过26亿美元来购买糖果，还有更多的钱购买道具、装扮等节日用品。这些消费给人们带来的除了欢乐，无疑还有大量的塑料垃圾。它们将会给土地和海洋造成的污染后果比人们想象的更加严重。一些科学家们日前提出了一些方式，可以在庆祝万圣节的过程中尽量降低对塑料制品的使用，更环保地度过节日。
The scale of waste this Halloween is scary, and plastic is the biggest villain. Most of it comes from candy, costumes, and decorations. And while you may throw away those items after Halloween, the plastic can take centuries to break down and has a way of coming back to haunt us, with millions of pounds of plastic entering the oceans every year, littering our beaches, polluting our oceans, and endangering wildlife. With that in mind, here's how you can decrease your carbon footprint and be kinder to the planet. Number 1, when it comes to candy, consider buying items wrapped and packed in recyclable materials like paper or foil, which is recyclable in some areas. Another option, make your own treats or hand out cash instead. Get creative with costumes. Ditch the poor quality and cheaply made ones that you'll likely only use once. Instead, look at your wardrobe and see what you can create with what you already have. Then visit a thrift store for any extra items, or look into renting a costume. And get crafty with decorations. Invest in decor that you can use for several years to come, or make your own out of recyclable materials. There's lots of inspiration on social media sites. With a little effort, you could have a spooky but sustainable Halloween. For Consumer Watch, I'm Mary Maloney.
万圣节几乎是所有小孩子最喜欢的节日，他们能够穿上各式各样的装扮，一起讨要糖果，外出游玩。然而，日前一些志愿者和医学界人士指出，密集和人群过多的万圣节活动，对于自闭症儿童和患有感官处理障碍的孩子们来说，可能会过度刺激他们的感官感受。但他们同样具有快乐享受万圣节的权利。如何让这些特殊的孩子们也在节日里获得自己的乐趣？专家给出了一些建议。
Itchy costumes, flashing lights, loud noises. For some people, it's not the ghosts and ghouls that make Halloween scary.
And it just can be really overwhelming for a lot of kids and adults who struggle with their sensory processing.
Kayleen George of AutisticMama.com offers some simple things parents can do to make sure their child doesn't miss out, starting with a comfortable costume.
Look for out-of-the-box costumes like pajamas, taking into consideration what your child finds is comfortable.
Another key trick to help your child get those treats, practice.
We practice trick-or-treating. That way it's not shocking.
Use signs or note cards to aid in communication if your child is nonverbal. And seek out sensory-friendly events, like this trunk or treat held by Rise for Autism in Glen Burnie, Maryland.
We have reduced sounds, reduced lighting, accommodations for all kids. We have a sensory room, and it gives them an opportunity to come out, have a good time.
Most importantly, don't be afraid to face your fears.
Don't think that'll be too overwhelming, so I should just stay home. But don't let sensory struggles stop you from going out and enjoying the holiday.
For today's Health Minute, I'm Steve Nannis.
“再来看娱乐方面的消息，今年的全美音乐大奖颁奖典礼将于11月24日在洛杉矶举行。日前，媒体进一步披露了奖项和设立以及提名情况，并表示著名流行音乐小天后泰勒·斯威夫特将在典礼上获得10年最佳艺术家的殊荣。她在出道之后获得的奖项数量超过了其他所有女歌手。
They'll be standing at the American Music Awards when Taylor Swift takes the stage to accept the Artist of the Decade award. Swift has 23 AMAs, more than any other female artist, and she could pass Michael Jackson for the most all time if she wins 2 more when she picks up her decade honor at this year's American Music Awards, November 24th in LA.
Where can we go? What can I do? It's time.
Gerard Butler is preparing for takeoff. He's set to star in the action thriller The Plane as a commercial pilot who's forced to land in a war zone and then protect his passengers until help arrives. Filming is scheduled for next year.
I'm going with you. Anna? No. Excuse me, I climbed the North Mountain, survived a frozen heart, and saved you from my ex-boyfriend, so, you know, I'm coming.
China is warming to Frozen 2. The Disney sequel is scheduled to open in Chinese theaters on November 22nd, the same day it debuts in North America. The first Frozen made more than $48 million in China. Since then, the country has added more movie screens and increased its appetite for animation. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
接下来，请一起关注汉天生活报道。